and
Yeah.
and I don't say this very proudly, but I will do things to a level for my business that most people won't. There's certain sacrifices you do have to make.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain sacrifices like you're willing to make, and I've missed out on a lot of like family stuff
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for my business. I remember even so this was years ago. There was a car that actually crashed through my business, and we were running it out of 2 locations. And this was before I was really good at delegation. I was kind of still trying to do everything by myself, and that was the point I learned where I couldn't do everything by myself. And my stepfather he was sick in the hospital, and I left to go back to work to do something because I had to like be there. And he passed away when I left, and I was just like, crap.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, I had to go. Could I have closed? Yeah. No, I didn't have to go. I could have closed the school. I could have, told people, but, I had people who were depending on me to make an income. So most people wouldn't do that. I mean, that's like an extreme example. And I'm not saying that was even the right decision to this day, but, my business was that important to me that sometimes I prioritize things over, like personal time and hanging out with people on Saturday nights. I mean, it's Sunday, I've been here all day kind of like organizing and getting things ready. The beach is like 2 minutes up the street for me. I could have been up at the beach, hanging out with people with the umbrella out today, but instead I was here working. Even though I was working on the house, I was doing things, to get us moving forward, as opposed to being outside and being like, oh, I could do this tomorrow.
This year has been nothing short of unique. Between exploring the virtual landscape and navigating new needs, business has done the extraordinary. Though some still struggle, we have expanded our reach, pivoted our resources to serve the public, and developed innovations to support this newly modified territory of business culture. Yet so much ahead still awaits us, from this year's unsolved challenges to future curveballs no one sees coming. Will we unite and lift one another up, or is hope for that already gone? In GritCON, we have decided to band together more fiercely than ever. There is hope, and we will not be put down. Join us as we overcome our situations and step into the light.
Hey everyone, it's Ron with GritCON Expandcast. I'd like to share with you this special live stream that we filmed June 1st, 2018, about 2.5 years ago, before a different time period, before COVID, before 2020. There was no podcast at the time. This is actually my first interview with the brand outside of the original GritCON event in 2017, where I interviewed Lauren Bateman. This went to my personal Facebook page, and it didn't really go anywhere other than that place. So it's a great chance for the audience, the new audience, and of course the audio audience as well, to see this incredible podcast interview that we had with Lauren Bateman. Lauren Bateman is a music entrepreneur. She talks about her story in this little interview and everything. And it's great to see that even though she was doing incredibly great in 2018, she's actually taken her business to even higher heights since then. with even more locations for her music school and her YouTube page that's blowing up like amazingly right now. Lauren Bateman, of course. Now, this is a different time period even for me. This is before the beard, and I was at a co-working space location with this. It's middle of summer, both talking about great weather and everything. And we had a lot of excitement coming off of Grant Cardone's 10X GrowthCon #2, where we both met. And I had a great interview with her, but I didn't have a microphone or a video recorder or anything, or any way to capture her incredible story and how much it actually meant for me to inspire me to do a lot of things that I do when it comes to creative entrepreneurship. So if you're an artist, if you're creative, this is a great chance to learn and take notes and identify ways that you can scale your business up. And that there's a chance to monetize your creative pursuits. So without further ado, here's Lauren Bateman on June 1st, 2018. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining us on my personal page for a Grit Mastermind and GritCON special with Lauren Bateman. I have no idea if it's actually recording to Facebook Live, but I know we are recording at least to my computer. So things should be going well. And hopefully you can hear me, Lauren. You can hear me?
I can hear you good.
Good, good. We hear loud and clear. This beautiful lady here, I got to meet in Las Vegas in February at Grant Cardone's 10X GrowthCon. And I made a special point to arrange my schedule to meet with her. Interesting enough, we found ourselves at the casino with this nice set of couches and everything. So it was almost like a Today Show setup, except I realized the camera was missing and the microphone. So, so here we are. I finally get to do it where I set up a nice microphone and a camera and everything, and finally get to, interview Lauren for the world to see. So thank you for joining us today. How's everything for you?
Thank you for having me. Things are fantastic. Going through some house remodel stuff, but doing well and enjoying the beautiful day.
Yes, it's, as you can tell, it's a nice, beautiful day out here on the East Coast, here in Richmond as well. So
yeah, you get some blue skies. Outside.
pretty happy about that ourselves here after a long winter we had. I'm sure it was a long winter up there in Boston too.
It was a crazy winter here because I'm right by the water. So when we got all those storm surges and stuff, we got to see all the crazy waves and everything, which is pretty cool. When they're far away, as long as they're not in front of my house. When they're down the road, they're fine.
So I think even Lauren was able to share it on the live stream with Grant Cardone when she had a chance to be on a microphone. At least one of the 5 times she got to be on a microphone in front of the world to see at GrowthCon, which she mentions the view from her house. And one of the things that I got into frequency with Lauren about was she always posts these beautiful sunrise and sunset pictures from a window of her home. And it's almost to the point where she did it so often, I look forward to it every morning, I
know it stinks now because the sun has shifted because now it's summer. So in the winter, the sun is right outside our window. It's perfect. And now it's off way to the side, but we still take photos from the window. So.
Terrific. Well, for people that don't know who you are, Lauren, and I've been bragging about you for the past few days, weeks, whichever. I'm really want you to share with you. I know your story a little bit, but definitely share with the world what your story is about business and everything you have going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I didn't start in business. I went to college. I got a degree in biology and archaeology, and the most logical thing to do after that is to go and work construction, right? Mm-hmm. So I worked as a laborer in the union for a little while until I was freezing my butt off in the middle of winter and decided that, working outside was probably not the best thing for me. I like the physical nature of the work, but being freezing cold in the middle of February in Boston is not very fun. So I basically started shooting resumes out and took the first job that was offered to me at that point. I had no clue what I was doing. So it was a job called histology, which is basically you take tissues and organs and you cut them up and you make the little slides that like doctors and pathologists look at. So that was my job, was to make slides. And I did that for a while. I ended up working for a pharmaceutical company in cancer research for a few years. And, you know, I liked the work, but it just wasn't, I just wasn't passionate about it. And, you know, I wasn't like the 9 to 5 kind of person. I mean, I hated traffic. So I used to get to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, be done at 3, which meant I had my whole day for myself. But I just felt like, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was supposed to be doing with my life for the rest of my, because when I was younger, I was sick. I actually had cancer when I was younger. So I have this really kind of fear-based view on life that the life and time is limited. So I'm sitting there in like this cubicle being like, I cannot waste my life doing this because I feel like I'm not living up to what my true potential was. And I loved music at the time. I had been playing guitar for a while. I don't think I had even taken lessons at the time. I was just really, I loved music so much that I kind of self-taught myself how to play guitar. And I started taking voice lessons because I love to sing. And I just realized that music was really my passion, what I loved. So, you know, I quit my job, my really good job. I mean, I was making really good money with the pharmaceutical company. I had benefits, health insurance, the whole 9 yards. It was awesome. And I quit my job to go start teaching music out of a spare bedroom in my house. So people thought I was crazy. You know, you got all the people who are like, are you really sure you want to do this? You have job security right now. You've got health insurance, you know, the whole fear behind that. But I was like, no, this is what I have to do. And I started teaching just kind of one-on-one, doing guitar and voice lessons out of my house. And that kind of grew to a point. It turns out I was actually really good at it. I didn't know that I was good at it, but I ended up being good, which meant I got a pretty full roster within like a year. And I had to hire another teacher to come work for me because I had still people calling me and I couldn't really like just keep filling my schedule with more and more hours. I mean, I could have worked 60 hours a week if I wanted to. But the whole point of me, you know, quitting my day job was for me not to be a slave to a job. And, you know, I didn't mind working, but I was limiting. I wanted to put a limit on how many hours I was working because I could have given away, you know, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I could have done that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it just wasn't, yeah, for me, it was more about having the freedom of time to do the things that make me happy and make me feel good in life. So now I own 2 music schools. I own 2 music schools. I have I think I have 16 or 17 employees now. So I don't do a heck of a lot of teaching anymore. I have a handful of students that I still teach, but I have a group of amazing employees that work for me and teach the students now. And I'm more on the managerial side of things. Which is really cool. I really like the management side of the business. I love the numbers side and the financial side of the business. I'm totally a numbers person. But yeah, now you know, when I first started, I was like, I just want 10 students. If I can get 10 students, I'll be happy. And now I think we have like over, at the height, which is usually like April, May, we had over like 350 students. So.
Wow.
So that's a long way from 10.
350. I had no idea it was that range. Wow.
Yeah.
That's something. And then I even perused your website and I saw your hours and it's really like that Monday to Friday, and I can imagine with 350 students, that's a pretty booked schedule, I guess, for your entire staff.
Yeah, I mean, my first location, we have 7 teaching rooms. My second location, we have 4 right now, but we're going to be looking on expanding that as well. So yeah, I mean, my first location is open 6 days a week, and my second location right now is open 5 days a week. But as you grow and you get more students, you expand your schedule, you expand your teaching roster, and it's growing. So that's good.
That's amazing. That is
doing something right?
Yes. I mean, I have a list of questions, but you're already turning up new questions that I didn't even think of. Like, I mean, and I understand. I'll get to it later about how this is a short period of time, but just for your day now, does it how does it feel to wake up and know that you've accomplished so much in a short period of time?
Yeah, I guess I don't think about it too much. I mean, I think I see it now more, and I get to experience, because it's been like 8 years. So it's not like it's just like been this overnight thing. It has been a process, but it's really cool because when I started in the beginning, it was all about me just kind of like getting money to pay my bills. And then once I could do that, it really became about just helping the students and helping them kind of fulfill their dreams of wanting to play music. And then once I started hiring employees, it came about trying to provide good employment for people so that musicians who are severely underpaid could actually make a decent living while still gigging and doing all the other stuff that they want to do as musicians. So it's evolved over time, and when I see how it's grown, it's really amazing to think that like that's what happened. Because I know people are like, oh yeah, you have this off. I never would have guessed like 8 years ago that I would be in charge of a music school.
Yeah.
It was just not on the radar. Like that was not part of the plan. So to see it now, I think it's just cool to see how it's evolved over time.
Yes. And I noticed that too, like, for myself, I'm a photographer. Well, I started in business as a photographer. So this is a whole creative discussion. That's why I invited so many to this discussion. And, but when you have this purpose lined up with yourself and you pour your effort, time, energy, and being into it, but you know where your destination is to really just, in your case, it was to, help children or anyone understand music and enjoy music and let the light of their creativity shine, that everything else kind of becomes details in the woodworks, I guess you could say. Is that right?
Yeah, and I think Gary Vee's a big proponent of like, finding something you're passionate about. Even Grant a little bit, but he's like, if you can make money, do it. Like, But I think if you find something that you're passionate about, or you find something and you make yourself really passionate about it, you don't really have to try too hard. And I think that's why I was surprisingly good at what I did, because I really was passionate about it and I really truly like helping people. So it was kind of like the perfect formula. So I didn't have to work hard to be good at it because I loved it so much.
Exactly. I describe it to some people. I don't have to see a motivational speech or read a motivational book to do my creative passion, because I'm just going to do it. And I think there's no question for artists and creatives. Like I have a friend in Virginia Beach. He's like one of the top photographers in 3 states. But and he is just, everybody around the world just looks at his work as like, that is impeccably amazing. And I didn't realize this room was going to turn into air conditioning wind tunnel here. So if you can still hear me clearly.
I can still hear clearly. You might hear cars outside my window. I'm
going to turn my volume up so I can hear you. But I got this good microphone, so you should be fine. But what is, I'm sorry, I'll get back to my point. It was the how of business that really can be a loss for a lot of creatives, I guess you could say. It's that, okay, well, I'm really passionate. There's no doubt my fiber being to do it, but why do clients not pick up my call? Why are people canceling on my classes? Why are people, not showing up or not following up with me? And so what was the piece for you that really guided you to the point where, okay, this is business was actually consistently happening?
Yeah, I think, I have the fortunate background of having a lot of entrepreneurs in my family. So I think I kind of knew it was a business from the beginning. Like I knew the whole point of this was to make money so that I could pay my bills and take care of eventually my family, etc. So I think I had that benefit from the beginning. And I think the benefit was that I came from a very corporate background working for the pharmaceutical company. Whereas I think some creatives, they don't get to have that background, and they're so focused on their passion and they're so focused on their art, and that like, you hear musicians all the time. It's like, well, people love it, they'll listen. And it's like, no, you got to sell yourself so that people will listen. And, and they're like, oh, well, that takes away from the art and the creative process. And it's like, well, if you don't want to make money, then that's fine. But if you actually want to make money, being a photographer, being an artist, or being a musician, whatever you want to do, if you want to make money, you have to treat it as a business, and you do have to learn how to sell yourself. And I'm a firm believer in, like I said before, if you really love what you're doing, you're really passionate about what you do, you don't really have to sell that hard, because people will be able to feel the energy from you, and they'll want to work with you. People aren't buying your product, they're buying you. So if you're likable, they're going to want to work with you.
Absolutely. Wow. I'm learning something too, even about myself in the process. I figured with my military background, it was high operational and high leadership and gathering teams or working with teams. And I think
high organization too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I might have had that coming out of the military and then starting a business. But I think you're right. The sales piece was that one piece that really, okay, yes, you can operation do it. You can lead people. You can lead a team. You can be a creative. You can make these big things happen. But if you don't have that sales piece, or other people, okay, if sales hurts your feelings, I guess service piece of, going out and getting clients and funneling them towards you, that is a major part. That was the last ingredient of my business. Once I figured out that part, it was it all worked out after that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they open up shop, they put up their website, and they do like their Google business listing, and they're like, great, I'm in business, like everyone's gonna find me now. And then it's like, okay, nobody's calling me. Why? It's because nobody knows.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, when I first started, I used to get up on Sundays at 5 o'clock in the morning, because in the area I used to live, a lot of people would park their cars on the street.
Yeah.
So I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, because most people sleep in on Sunday, right?
Yes.
And I would go and I would flyer everyone's windshield, my flyers for my guitar lessons, being like, hey, I teach. And I got some jerks who would call and crap because I flyered their car. But hey, that's how I built my business so quickly. I wasn't afraid to go out there and get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and go flyer cars.
Exactly. See, and then you hear the story of the business owner, the person that was a creative or whatever business it was, where they just didn't have the fear to knock on doors. In my case, over a period of time, I figured out that I was just going to get my business card and introduce myself to everybody that had children, because when I started photography, it was photographing children and families. And I would burn through 500 cards in a few weeks, So yeah, it's just, once you get into that realm, is like, I got to be known. I got to go out and get the business. Yes, photography is one thing. And you're right. I think musicians and creatives, with a mentality is, hey, I should be good enough. Look at me. No, people are busy. People got kids and job and grocery shopping and everything. Getting in front of them and getting frequent with them is part of the keys to at least get them to look at you, and then also handling them properly. And that, I think, that education piece comes in. Whether your flavor is Gary or Grant or any of the not Tony Robbins, but some of the other people that that actually walk you through the process of, okay, hey, this is how you handle clients, and there's an entire education piece. And just like your art form, it's, you learn it, but you never master it. You get better and better, and you become an expert. But there is no supreme master of the guitar or camera or paintbrush. And then at the same time, there is no supreme master of the business and sales. You just get better and better over time. And if you agree with me, just like sales becomes its own art form, in a sense that you constantly are learning every day of how you can master it, or how you can contribute to it. Is that about right?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're always learning. You're always learning something new in sales, and you're always testing stuff.
Yeah.
Just because you do something once doesn't mean that specific process didn't work. There might be like one piece of the process that was wrong.
Yes.
And you change that. I can use, for example, Facebook ads. You can just change the picture, and all of a sudden your ad goes from being a flop to being amazingly successful. So,
Yes.
just because something doesn't work the first time
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it didn't work. And I'm a big numbers person. I'm a very analytical person. I like to see numbers. So I track everything, and I know the numbers of my business really well. So
Yeah.
I can usually pinpoint where something is going wrong in the system or in the process. So as a beginning business owner, that was something I didn't do out of the get-go. I wasn't good at tracking my marketing. I wasn't good at tracking my numbers year to year, and I'm way better at that now. And it's great because we can see in our sales process where it's breaking apart and where we might need to tweak things.
Exactly. That numbers thing is huge. I went through several iterations of pain and suffering in 9 years of business where, please take my word for it, numbers are important. And I know you're creative, and maybe some creatives are like, numbers, no, but if you can get somebody to look at your numbers, for example, even it's a recent thing in the last few years, but even recently, now that I have assistants and a team, one of the jobs of my personal assistant, her first thing when she comes in is to go through all my financial numbers and build a report, and I look at it. I even, still work with her on it, and I look at my numbers from day to day. I actually learned that from Grant, but you are exactly right. Being data hungry, how many phone calls did it take? How many closings happened? If you made 100 phone calls, how many people closed? I used to write little stick tallies, tick marks across how many phone calls I did and how many people I closed in a week over a period of time. And then I put it in a binder and it went on a shelf. And I still have that thing to this day. I actually know just myself how many phone calls and how many clients I can close out of a number. And I used to do 1 out of 100. Now it's not 1 out of 100. I got a lot better. But that even propels you to start to look for ways to get better. It's like, man, I really suck at 1 out of 200 or 100. What am I doing wrong? And it keeps you, okay, what portion, what information, especially in 2018 where information is thriving. I think what helps is when you find people that are successful in other industries too, you can find out where the information came from. And you can build out your own pattern that works for you, because not everybody's pattern works for everybody, but what works for you, and at least you're moving in the direction of learning. I guess you can agree with that. So
yeah, every market's different. So just because something I do works really well for me, my target audience might be very different than yours. So if because sometimes people will be like, well, what did you do? And it's like, well, you got to tell me, who's your audience, who's your target market, because what I'm doing might not work for you at all because we're in totally opposite directions. So why are you going to copy what I'm doing when you should be doing this?
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to get to because I want to get through my questions first, and then we can really get into like deep stuff. But what is one single word or action that you would recommend to an artist to monetize on a large scale? I can repeat that for you. What is a single word or action that you would recommend to an artist to monetize on a large scale?
Persistence.
Wow.
Persistence. It's all about persistence. If you quit, and trust me, there have been many times where I've woke up and been like, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to quit. I can't. I'm done. And you keep going.
Yes.
And you just gotta dig deep, even in those hard times when you feel like you want to give up.
Yes.
You gotta dig deep and know that it's going to get better.
Wonderful.
And if you want to succeed, you need to keep going.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing, I think, okay, so, and the good thing about artists and creatives is you're willing to stick out a long period of time to make it. I mean, if you already got to the point of an artist where you actually can fill a room, at least a small cafe with the people, or you're a photographer that, wedding people are hiring you left and right, or clients are hiring you left and right, you've already put in some kind of work to understand that my craft needs to be honed. I think I guess we're both agreeing that the biggest recommendation is to adapt the other craft, which is sales and business and organizational structure, to what you have already going on. I guess it's two brains in a sense, where one brain is, okay, yes, my passion. Another brain is that kind of like science and numbers and organization and everything too. And I really do suck at a lot of organizational things, but you can ask my wife and a lot of my friends. dude, we got to really draw a chart for Ron because his scribbles are everywhere, you know? So, but I realized that a big part of my best friend and my teams and a lot of friends that were helping me, I gravitated to their organizational skills because I didn't have that. So that's something where I guess you could say what I'm trying to say is rent the skills you don't have from your friends and family or somebody, or your employees. So
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And then of course that persistence, you're right, that one action or that one philosophy of persistence over time, you finally get it right. So absolutely. Okay, now I went from one item to 3 items now, so you can help me out with this. What are 3 ways someone can excel in a short period of time? What are 3 ways people can excel in a short period of time?
3 ways. Okay, so I think one way, let me come up with 3. One way is to take action.
Okay.
You have to take action. It's great to plan. It's great to organize things, but you actually got to start putting things into motion. So it's not only persistence, but it's persistent action that you need to do. So if you keep taking the right actions, even if you take the wrong, you're gonna make mistakes, but just keep going and you'll make the right ones over time.
Yes.
So that's one. Number 2, I would say, is knowing who your audience is, knowing who your target market is, because if you know who that is, then you can really hone in your marketing right away and hit the clients that you need to hit. So that's a way. And number 3 is it's doing what other people aren't willing to do. So if I go back and reference, there weren't too many music teachers getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday to go fly our cars. So be willing to do what other people in your market aren't willing to do to get to that next step. So sometimes you have to think outside of the box. So those would be my 3 things. Take action, know who your target market and audience is and really hone in on them. And then what was the third one? Doing what, nobody else is willing to do.
Absolutely. Wow. That is amazing, because I realized that my own business model and everything too kind of follows those steps. And a huge one, action, of course, theories and everything and planning. I think people have this thing where I got to get it right. I got to get it right. No, just start doing and you can correct later. And it sounds so reverse philosophy. Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect. I tried to plug in my battery pack here. It's never going to be perfect.
Yes.
And like I said, I didn't think I was going to open a music school when I started. So things change.
Yeah. Wow.
So if you plan your plan to perfection, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up to Z, something's going to take a turn somewhere and you're going to have to improvise. You're going to have to change. Yeah. So it's great to have plans. It's great to have goals. Yeah. But don't be inflexible, because something might happen that you weren't expecting to happen. Did I think I was going to open a commercial location? No, never in my it wasn't even on my board. But once I became successful, you start thinking bigger. Absolutely. And that's what happens when you start getting successful. You start thinking bigger, and it's like, well, how do I make this? How do I help more people than what I can do by myself? I have to hire people. All right, I'm hiring people now. What do I do? Well, I probably should put this in a commercial front so that I can attract more people. So you never know what's going to happen. There is no perfect plan. Life is always going to throw you zigzags. So you just got to go with it.
Absolutely. And that's even with the GritCON franchise, how it started. I realized that, general entrepreneurship conferences was a new thing by the pioneer of Grant Cardone. And to have a honed in market of veterans and regionally here in the Mid-Atlantic area, I had to move swiftly and quickly and not perfectly by action, because if I don't claim my flag, somebody else is going to open a veteran, DC, Maryland area conference. And then I'll as an old man on my deathbed, I'm like, man, I had the chance and I didn't take it. So I'm more fearful of not acting than getting it right or perfecting the plan. Yeah.
It's fire, aim, fire again.
Yeah, exactly.
So take the shot. You're going to make mistakes, but mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them.
Exactly. That's a big part. Learn from the mistakes. Big time. And then the target audience, which is huge on this mentor that I'm working with. Even to this day, he still pounds into my head, Ron, target audience, Ron, target audience, Ron, target audience. And even with my team, I hired him for a team session. He's like, target audience, target audience, target audience.
I mean, you look at people like, you look at Gary Vee, or you look at Grant Cardone, and it's like, there's a lot of people that love them, and there's a lot of people that hate them because they're so focused on their target audience. Like, they want to hit those target people, and if you're doing that, you're doing that correctly, you are going to repel people.
Yes.
And that's okay, because like they always say, like, if you're marketing to everyone, you're really marketing to no one.
Yes.
And for us, like, we primarily market to young kids. We still get adults who come to our school, but for our primary marketing is towards kids, and our website is all focused around kids.
Yes.
So, but we do get adults. We do get them. They're, we have lots of them that come and take lessons from us, but most of our marketing is towards kids.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. Like, even on a personal note, my wife is a art education teacher with paint nights and all these. She will change it up too. She'll change it up her different little offerings, so nothing's the same as far as the one's paint, one's putting a little pet together, one's concentrated on food art, but it really keeps the children entertained. But just the fact that she knows her target audience, she always appeals to her target audience, her marketing is in the target audience. That is huge, and I definitely try. I'm finally honing in that part. That's probably the weakest part of the three things you mentioned. And the third part, do what others people are not willing to do. There's that whole glamour of, I got to be on, microphone with Grant Cardone, or be in the front row with Grant Cardone, or got to take pictures with him and the family and the wife, and even being handed awards. For example, Monique Stevenson got handed an award from our first conference for a veteran entrepreneur of the year. And there's this whole like, wow, look at all these people winning. But what's behind the scenes is that here on a Sunday, before a big summer weekend, I'm over here, even talking to my assistant and my business partner. We're over here, or late at night when it's quiet and you're working on the contract deal for the next subcontractor, or in the case of my buddy that's in real estate, he's just like sweating in the hot sun, moving lumber around. Yeah, so
No. I prioritize things over, like personal time and hanging out with people on Saturday nights. I mean, It's Sunday, I've been here all day kind of like organizing and getting things ready. The beach is like 2 minutes up the street for me. I could have been up at the beach, hanging out with people with the umbrella out today, but instead I was here working. Even though I was working on the house, I was doing things, to get us moving forward, as opposed to being outside and being like, I could do this tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is like, I think it also has to do with, that the paying dues time is a paying the money up front, so that the rest of your life has more choices and freedom. Exactly. And
because tomorrow, if I don't want to go to work, I don't have to.
Exactly. Or being.
So I paid the price early. I did pay the price.
Yes.
But the price is I don't have to go into work this week if I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Or that you built out a team or management team that when you do, they're like, Ron, step away for 40. We got it. They're like trying to prove that, we want to make you proud. We're going to do it. And I'm like, you sure? I don't know. No, we got it.
Trust them. Yeah. Because that's the biggest thing, is trusting that they're going to be, and giving them the power to do that. That was a very hard thing for me to do, and I'm still working on it. There's still some things that I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. But I've gotten much better being like, you know what? This is your job. This is not my job anymore. You need to do it. And if you screw up, we'll just have a meeting.
Exactly. And and it's interesting when you do finally get to the point where you're working with, so this is so you can to almost every entrepreneur level, I think. When you do start building a team or having a team, you do feel that responsibility, like, I need to go in, I need to make sure this piece is right so that my people can get paid. But once you get the machine going, it's like, oh, okay, cool, all right, And then when you step in, okay, there's crisis time or challenge time, or get this big client and the boss needs to step in type of thing. Yeah, jump in there and pull in the hours. but at the same time, knowing that at the end of the day, because for years I had this Apple MacBook. I mean, since 2010, I always wanted to pick one sticker that would signify why I do things. And I wish I could show it because I'm on the laptop now. It says freedom. It's a red circle that says freedom. And it's really not about mine. It's about a whole bunch of other people's freedom as well, is why I do what I do. And I think too, yourself, you have that, service mentality. And I really looked at, being around the military for so long, we have that service mentality. You really do feel being a servant leader to your employees and giving them the opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't have, to work in the industry where they want to work in, So that's a huge thing.
Right. Even, to have someone sticking up for them too.
Absolutely. And to talk about a little bit more of fun things, I want to make sure that people make clear, because about the sunrise and sunset thing, when you're doing your outreach on social media or your message, it doesn't have to be about the whole, Cardone, rah, rah, make it happen, pound away, pound away. What kind of messages outside of business help draw more attention to you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I got caught up in the grant stuff too, and I was, I'm all about grind and hustle, but there's also that part of me that is about the freedom, and it's about finding that harmony and just being like, hey, so for example, tomorrow, my sister asked me if I could babysit my nieces. So instead of going to work, I'm going to go babysit my nieces tomorrow, which is awesome because that makes me happy. So the other messages you can just send out there is you just got to be yourself. And it was hard for me to do that in the beginning. So kind of sharing those experiences of, this is what I do day to day. Like I enjoy getting up and taking a photo outside my window. Because I really do that. Like the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is I go over the window and I look out it and I just look at the water, and it's just a great way to start the day. So I share that with people on occasion with Facebook, and just remind people that, today is a great day, whether you're hustling or whether you're having fun, just remember to enjoy the day.
Yes, absolutely. And
so
I think
that's like a big part of my message, and trying to keep things positive.
Absolutely. And I think that's what will attract people more. Yes, they want to see the business process. They want to see the success process, but they also want to see your story. And I think, that Instagram and my stories and Facebook stories and everything too, I think there's also the message of, hey, this is me. This is who I am. This is who I really am. And people are gravitating towards that. People want to see the nieces and nephews and see the process. And
exactly. I mean, even Grant, who talks about the hustle and the grind all the time, I mean, he's having a lot of, if you really watch like his Instagram stories and stuff, like he's having a lot of fun. He has that harmony. I mean, he's going to baseball games, he's going to MMA fights, he's hanging out with his kids and his wife and just having fun. Like he shows you that. I mean, he's all about the hustle and grind, but if you really read between the lines, if you really watch his Instagram story, there's a lot of selling going on there too, Cardone Capital and all this other stuff. But you get to see those clips of him like just enjoying his life.
Yes.
What his life is.
Yes.
And I think that's the cool and the intriguing part. Not so much, the hustle part. It's the part where you get to see like who this person really is.
Absolutely. And what ends up happening is it's kind of like letting go, but then you get more results type of thing. When you are at peace with your life and action and sharing and everything too, people see that and they will remember you as the morning sunrise lady. And oh wow, she does music too. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean that's what really threw me.
Morning sunrise lady, that I'm the sunrise lady. Like actually, I had a few people who came up to me at GritCON, like sunrise person, and I was like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I am the sunrise person.
Yeah. And then you let
something.
And then you land interviews, and then I bet you there's a whole bunch of veteran creatives now that know who you are. So now you got a bigger market, and it's I mean, and what? Yes, don't get me wrong.
Take a picture outside my window every morning.
So, and there's many, and I can't wait to share, more of my audience with you. I do have a big, veteran and active military market and everything. And there's even a segment too. So every market has a segment, and I actually invited directly some of the leaders of the veteran creative and artists group, you know, to this thing. And I'm sure they watched the video, or some of them probably are watching right now. Some of my fans here in the non-military market here in Richmond, Virginia, you know, they really want to see your message and hear about it. And I think you are a great segment and a great, I guess, model for behavior to see that, oh my God, there's a creative that made it, and she's open, and she shares her life, and she shares her sunrises, and you know, she's nice and approachable, and so I think in itself, you're doing what other people aren't doing. You've built out this business, you've built out this pattern, and I think you really now have a platform to really even send your message further. You know, kind of.
Yeah.
I think that the idea behind the 10X family with Grant is that he just didn't want it for himself. He wanted many hymns, you know.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, because he's influencing people through me and through you. Like, you know, he's creating this network, this spider web of people who are somehow influenced by him, even if they weren't directly influenced by him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that was cool.
Yeah, and absolutely, and still yet be yourself. Still be yourself. You're not trying to pattern exactly, you know.
Right. And I think that's what happens with some people, because I know it happened with me too, is you get caught up in someone else's message.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, obviously, like I said, when you're marketing and your target audience, like, you will repel certain people. And in the beginning, you know, I was really latching on to the hustle, grind, Grant thing, which is cool because I do hustle and grind, but I was forgetting this aspect of my life that is really kind of enjoy the day.
Yes.
So I felt like when I started doing more of that, more my personality came out, and I started attracting more the people who want to hear that message and aren't really into the, like, hey, hustle, grind, like 24/7. Some people, they're not into that. And I'm personally not into hustle, grind 24/7. I will hustle and I will grind.
Yeah.
But I also like to have fun too.
Yeah, and I think, see, you really do appeal with your message. People are very attentive to you. It's like, wow, she does both. Wow, she can balance both, you know?
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, it's finding what works for you.
Yeah.
And the right harmony for you in your life, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to hang out with you again. This is like, seriously, like, I mean, I really want to invite you down to the DMV area, DC, Richmond, DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. That's what we call DMV. So, and maybe host you or something and bring an audience in front of you. And
it's probably only like a 2-hour plane ride, if even that.
Okay.
It's like an hour to Philadelphia, so.
Absolutely. Every time I hop over to Europe, I either hop through Chicago or Boston, but most of the time Boston. I always end up at the airport, hopping back and forth to Europe. So it's like, man, and I always think about it when I'm stuck in there, because I do get stuck at the airport. It's like, man, I really wish I could just hang out with Lauren instead of hanging out here, you know?
Come on down.
Which I understand. I guess the airport and where you are in the water is not that far away, I'm thinking. Is it?
No, I mean, the airport from my first location's maybe like 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Maybe like a half hour from where I live.
Gotcha. I like to do this. I did this with Matt Soltis in the Grit. This is the first time I really did a Grit interview outside of the group, because I have okay, I'm gonna have to do my plugs here. Grit Mastermind, GritCON has its own group. It's like 70 entrepreneurs in there, only a group of 70, but high quality entrepreneurs, including influencers like Lauren's in there. And most of the interviews are done in there, but I just believe, and everybody did get a chance to see Matthew and I at Vegas do a, public interview. So I thought it was only fair to do a public interview with Lauren as well. So, but most of the time, the good interviews are over in Grit Mastermind, so or GritCON, and I'll send a link out for everybody to see. But absolutely, I love the energy. I love the diversity of the influencers we have there, including Matt from the United Kingdom, Stephen from Budapest, Hungary, and absolutely, I think the merging of different platforms and different groups and working together. I don't really think I used to think in competition terms back before in my old 9-to-5 life, but I really think the collaborative environments, the collaborative, you know, this group of entrepreneurs here and this group of entrepreneurs here, let's work together and build out, you know, some success for more people, and it feeds upon itself. Because an ultimate goal, I think Lauren has the ultimate goal like I do, is just to bring more choices and freedom to more people. Absolutely. So, but thank you so much. I mean, this is incredible. And let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull up any questions anybody had, because I've been ignored. I don't really see the questions coming in because I'm on 2 platforms and I'm trying not to have the interference with audio.
Yeah.
But let's see if anybody dropped any questions, because I promised some Q&A with some people. And let's see if I see anything here. Sure, everything's. And I appreciate Terrence Freeman and Kyle for sharing the stream. Wow, there's a bunch of people that are here.
Awesome.
Nini, Ricky.
Thank you for sharing. If you shared, we appreciate it.
Yes. Bill Robertson, if you have questions, of course, I'm a little bit of delay because I'm on several different devices and probably sharing connection somewhere. But absolutely, if you got questions, go ahead and drop them in comments. And if you got questions about Grit Mastermind or GritCON 2018, let us know, and in comments as well, and probably drop some links in there for you. But I would like to make this you know, something as a Benny for people in the Grit audience. If I can get an influencer to drop in once a month, say hello, and go from there. And absolutely, any ways we can reach you? Any links or music school or?
Yeah, I mean, my main website is laurenbateman.com. That's how you can reach out to me. If you want to check out the music school's website, once that card flies by, it's LB, like Lauren Bateman, lbmusicschool.com. That's my music school website. But if you want to contact me directly, you can go to laurenbateman.com. My email is actually lauren@laurenbateman.com. Very easy. You can always shoot me an email if you got a question, but you can check me out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time on a Sunday. I know you got a lot of things going on with the house and business, and, you know, and enjoying time with family here. And I know 4th of July is here. I know people, if you did take time from your, you know, Saturday, Sunday, right before 4th of July, which fell right in the middle of the week, you know, thank you for joining us tonight. And absolutely, it was a wonderful interview. My second interview really with you, but this is the first one recorded or streaming. So absolutely. Thank you so much. Tell your beautiful fiance I said hello. And absolutely. I look forward to our next conversation or our next get together in person. So
sounds good. Thanks for having me, Ron.
Awesome. You have a great one. Take care. Let's see.